How's it going, everybody? Got the case 2388 kind of swapped around in the barn order here. Getting ready to get it pulled out here and start shelling some corn maybe in the next week or two. Just going over everything, getting it greased up, lubing the chains, checking everything out from when I put it away last year. Thinking a video earlier this year, I kind of mentioned putting some Tiger lights on. I got those put on. They are super impressive. I'll turn them on here in a minute, let you take a look at them, but that's kind of what they look like turned off. They're really nice. Second year running this combine. Before that, my dad had a Gleaner M that he farmed with, so this is my first combine I've ever even personally run. Bought this on an online auction, and probably wouldn't do that again. I think I kind of got lucky. Machine was, for the most part, as advertised. A few things that I found were wrong with it whenever I got it delivered to me. One of the ones that I feel like that they probably should have known was this is what they call a field tracker combine, or field tracker combine, which means the feeder face here kind of will rotate to the contour of the ground. And it's got kind of some angle iron going in through right here on each side, and it's got these like poly skid plates that kind of that thing like slides on. They go down here, along here, and up here. Well, anyway, those poly plates had like been completely worn out so much that this thing was like grinding on the metal, and it was grinding on the metal so bad that it had almost worn all the way through the actual plates that the thing sits on. And I had seen, I thought it was kind of odd that they had these like little strips of metal welded right here, and you could kind of see like where there was a crack in there that they had welded at one point. So this thing had like, all the weight of the heads that they are combining with was solely supported on this metal, which I know that I'm not, for anybody who's not familiar with them, when you take this off, there's some heavy steel up there. That's what everything actually sits on. Like this piece here really shouldn't support the weight, and it was causing a lot of stress here, and it's got stress cracks on each side. So originally the plan was to cut those off and re-weld it, but then whenever I started looking at everything and how like loose this thing was, took it off, and then I could see what the real issue was. Case actually does make a new kit for that, where they give you the new angle irons for the face and for the throat in here and on the inside, and you gotta kind of cut everything out. And if anybody has to do that in the future, the guy that's helping me was forward thinking enough to actually make sure that we mark the areas of where everything has to be welded back in. So everything went back together really well. The kit you get from Case is kind of just the metal pieces, and you got to really make sure you get everything lined up. So anyway, that was one issue that I was really kind of disappointed on, that I noticed right away whenever I got the combine. The second thing was this rod that runs through here along the bottom. I guess that is on certain ones of these 23s and 21s, the 88 series, that when they put axle extensions on to help support the axle, and that rod it broke right off at the nut right there. And when I first got this thing, I was like crawling around all over it and was underneath and kind of like grab hold of that thing, and I noticed one end of it was secure, the other end was like the whole thing like kind of flopped around. Like, that's kind of weird. Started checking into it, and yeah, sure enough, it was broke, not right. Another one of those things that again, like I probably would, even at an auction, or if I was walking around at a dealership, I don't know if that's something that I necessarily would have noticed. But so got it fixed. So between the two, I had to invest some money right away into the thing before I ever even combined. Not to mention just a few other little things that were needed to be fixed. It's got 20.8 42 inch duals on it, and it's set up to, for the most part, straddle 30-inch rows. Does have a rock trap, which hopefully will do a better job of making sure that is dumped or I empty that thing out at least once a day or so when I'm doing beans this year. I had an issue with this combine that again, I'm not sure if it was pre-existing. I don't think it was. I didn't notice anything whenever I was first going over this combine last fall. But at some point, I think that I had run a rock through here, cutting beans, and I put a pretty big, it went all the way through, and I'd end up, you can't see it in here now, but I crushed the sieve. And another thing that I didn't know how to adjust or properly set was the chopper, and the chopper was set up for soybeans. Well, I was running corn through it, and so I got a hole in the chopper pan, and it was throwing corn. They told me that what had caused the hole between that and the rock potentially was the fact that I was like throwing corn cobs off that chopper, because of the hole in the pan, and they were allowing it to come down and hit the top sieve. Put a big hole in my top sieve, pretty much completely destroyed the thing. So another rookie kind of learning costly mistake. But anyway, it does have some nice add-on features that some of them didn't originally come from. It's got can adjust the top sieve and your lower sieve from the side here. A lot of them you kind of have to go in, and they've got some handles up there that you got to adjust, which these side deals make it a lot easier. I've seen most of them do have those, but I don't. It was an option or aftermarket or something. So that's the chopper, and I think this is what adjusts the chopper pan. So I got to remember, and it was marked before, but again, this is an aftermarket type deal that I didn't know anything about. The book doesn't tell you anything about it, so this is kind of nice. The guys at Case were even kind of impressed with this. They said they hadn't seen too many like that or like this at all with this kind of setup, so that you can adjust the chopper pan from beans to corn. So anyway, that's one of the nice things about it. I'll show you the other side here. There's the instructions for changing the belt setup on the chopper for the beans and corn. One of the things I just got done doing was the sprocket right there. You can put that chain for the clean grain elevator over to the larger sprocket to the left, and that will set it up for like high yielding corn. My corn last year was pretty good. I would say it was, some high yielding stuff, and I did convert it over that. I did have an issue one time with the clean grain elevator getting kind of plugged up, overloaded. So I thought that may have been it. I swapped it over. Turns out I didn't have my bubble auger pushed up high enough in the grain tank to help elevate the grain up out of the way. So that was probably the real issue, not that. But I just left it like that for the rest of the year anyway, just in case that did help it out some. I swapped it back now because we are in the middle of the drought in Missouri. My corn this year probably won't make 100 bushel. I don't know. Some spots it looks pretty good. Some of it looks like it's 50 bushel. So I'm hoping for 90 to 100 or somewhere in that neighborhood. We'll see. The mess on the floor there came from the yield monitor box here. I forgot to empty. I made sure the clean and return elevators were dumped and open all winter and everything, but I forgot to empty the grain yield monitor box here, so that's what that was. I pulled it out and dumped it all out, and now I've got a mess to clean up. Overall, pretty happy with the combine. Kind of wish it was four-wheel drive. It is two-wheel drive, but I was kind of watching the Mud Hog for a 2388 on Auction Time last week, and was intending to pay really close attention to it. Was maybe even thinking about bidding on it, but the day the sale ended, that Wednesday, I don't know, I got sidetracked, completely forgot about it. Turns out the thing really, I don't think it brought a whole lot of money, pretty reasonable. I'd even already called the guy about it, so kind of disappointed I didn't have a chance to bid on it, but especially because we're getting some rains the last couple weeks here, so I don't know. Ran this thing a little bit in some soft ground last year. We got a lot of terraces, and so those can be tricky, because in some spots the ground will be firm, and then you get in a channel, and next thing you know, it just starts sucking you in towards the riser, and either creating some huge ruts and you're not able to stay on your row, or you get stuck. Spreader. It does have the auger extension for your unloading auger, which is nice. Go up and take a look at the cab here. It's a 1998 Model 2. So I think was the first year for the 2388s. Turn it on here and take a look at these lights. There we go. LEDs, nice and bright. Kind of go over the cab here a little bit. See if we can get some light on here. There we go. That helps at all, really, not much. Up top, you got your hazards. There's your lights, windshield wiper, radio, air controls, heat and AC, fan. On the pillar to the right, got your gauges for your engine. It's got an 8.3 Cummins diesel in it, which is a very good ag engine. Case used them a lot, some of the tractors from this era, and combines for several years. Really nice. Anyway, your volts, fuel, coolant. This little deal here will indicate any kind of issues as far as like I had a belt break on something last fall. It'll kind of tell you in that area. If there's an area through one of your elevators, it'll tell you there. Plug in your feeder or your rotor, and you got your engine RPMs. I think that'll tell you that's your speed. There's your total engine hours, there's your rotor hours. Not sure what, maybe that's the Reese, not sure what that is. There's your fan speed. And then it's just your combine, or your rotor speed, I'm sorry, combine speed. There's your, you can turn off some of your alarms. I forget, I have to look up what some of these arrows do. I can't remember. I think this is, this is just for, no, that's not for your fan. Your fan and everything, how you set those down here. Anyway, I can't remember exactly what those arrows are for. Change something. This is kind of your loss, green loss area here. It'll show your tailings if they're excessive or not, or also indicate how far your header height is off the ground. This little indicator here will show you, you've got acceptable grain loss, and then it's getting into the area where you need to make an adjustment or check something out. You got too much grain loss, and then you kind of adjust how sensitive it is from here. Your seed grain size selector, meter position, and then how sensitive it, or I'm sorry, this is your okay, this will sense your grain loss for your rotor, your chafer off, or it'll do both your rotor and your chafer. Hydrostatic, so this will give you, this is your drive, just forward and back. This will do operate your reel on your grain head, header height up and down. This will go side to side and on your reel. And then this is your unloading auger to bring it in and out. That's to turn it on. Your reel, as far as it's in manual position right now. You can set it to auto, which you'll control the speed of the reel from here, and manual, or it'll do it based on, I think it has something to do with how fast you're going, and it'll automatically gauge, or you can set it to a corn when you're not using your grain head. That's turn on your rotor, turn on your feeder, to adjust if you've got your automatic head height sensing. I can't remember what RTC is. I'm sorry guys, this is like my second year with this combine, and it's been since last fall since I've been in it. The last fall is the first time using it. Float, I think M is like manual, float is just float obviously, and then I'm not sure what HT is, but there's 4 settings there as far as what I have to look in the book again. And then this is your how high off you want it to set, as far as like how many inches. This is how sensitive it is. This is for the field tracker. It's in manual right now. Neither one of my heads are set up for auto. Really wish they were, given all our terraces. But I have to run it in manual right now. Corn's no big deal. I mean, you're not really shelling corn low enough to the ground to really make that big of a deal to it. Beans would be really nice. And then here's all your different adjustments for the field tracker. Again, how sensitive it is, how response, and how level. This is where you adjust your concave, in and out, fan speed, and rotor speed. And then, sorry, I don't know what that was on for. That's your parking brake, and that's, see, I thought that was for your 2-speed hydro. I'll have to look again. The little arrow deal is confusing, because this makes it seem like that's your feeder reverser, which I'm almost certain that's what that is. I gotta look again, because some of this is kind of confusing. Anyway, I think this little spot here is for if you do have 4-wheel drive, turn it on and off. And then I think you just saw some of the other controls here. How sensitive your toggle switch is here, as far as like raising and lowering your head. You can adjust how fast it'll do it or how slow it'll do it, up and down, with your dial there. And this is your reel. I'll have to check that one out too, because I'm not really too sure on what that has to do. Something with your reel, how fast it's going. Maybe that's how fast it is, and I don't know. Anyway, books, couple lights, grain tank. You can see it's got the bubble auger there. One of the things I forgot to mention was that the auger does have like new grain tank auger, and also on my unloading auger, they both have like this poly adapter thing that's kind of bolted to the auger flighting. I kind of like it. The guy said that I bought it from, like, he said he really liked it, kind of helped with the life of it. Or of course the mechanic from the local dealer said that he didn't like it and that I should replace the auger, but not in any big hurry to do that because I haven't really had any issues with the poly inserts. Grain tank extension, I forget who makes it, but it's a pretty good size one. Corn, I think I can get close to 300 bushel on here. Buddy seat, which I'm really into having my boys come with me and my family and my wife and everybody, so it's kind of really nice. Like, none of our other tractors have anything like that because of how their age. I made one in that 8070. It's got a really big cab and there's plenty of room for a buddy seat, so I made one there. But really like having a spot for my boys and my wife and everybody when they want to come ride with me. So anyway, I think that's probably about all I can think to tell you about it now. Here, I'll step outside and show you what these lights look like on the outside. Well, there's a lot of glare. Kind of looks like you're looking into the sun, but really impressive. Really like them. Highly recommend them. I haven't used them at night yet combining, but I think that they will do their job just fine. So a lot better than those little yellow suckers there. Anyway, try to get a video here once I get going. Start selling some corn. Thanks for watching.